Hello. Let me ask you a question. In the beginning of your marriage, did you make the vow to have and hold, for better or for worse, from this day forward? But then you find yourself lately wondering, wow, did I really mean what I say? Can I do what I say? If that's you, we're going to talk about that and much more here on this episode of Couples Pursuit Live.
Yeah. Couples Pursuit.
Hello, this is Vincent
and Valerie
Woodard. And on this episode of Couples Pursuit Live,
we're going to talk about struggling to keep the vows with our special guests, Eric and Dr. Sakeisha Hylick.
How y'all doing today?
Welcome.
Oh, we're doing great.
Oh,
Thank
doing
you
great. How you doing? Yes.
Wonderful. And let me make a correction. That's Minister Eric and Dr. Sakeisha Hylick.
Okay.
That's fine.
We're cool.
It's like the same to me. I was like, Minister Vincent, hey, as long as
he's like, I'm just Vincent.
As long as you call me for dinner, I'm good. As long as
I don't titles are not that important to me.
Yeah.
So we're excited to have you all with us. I'm going to take a moment and just tell our audience a little bit about you, and then we're going to let you jump in and let you tell us a little more. Okay? So Eric and Dr. Sakeisha Hylick are multi-award-winning TV producers of Becoming a Millionaire Power Couple TV show. They are marriage and relationship success strategists, generational wealth builders, best-selling authors, and podcast hosts. Minister Eric and Dr. Sakeisha are frequently called upon because of their innate ability to help their clients achieve breakthrough in their relationship struggles. Whether you are experiencing challenges in your relationships spiritually, emotionally, and or financially, the Hylicks will deliver a proven system to break unproductive behavioral patterns and create lifelong change. The Hylicks are visionaries of Marriage Can Win, a platform founded to help couples who, while dominating their professional lives, are faltering in their personal ones.
That's good.
Yes. We are excited to hear about all of that. First of all, tell us just a little bit about you all, like, you know, we know what you do, but how long you've been married and what prompted you to get into all of these beautiful avenues that you use to minister.
Yes.
I mean, for us, we've been together 28 years. This August, we'll be celebrating 24 years of marriage.
Congratulations. Wow.
Thank you. God is good. God is good. And we both came from families with a background of divorce. And we decided early in our relationship that we didn't want to repeat the same cycles that we saw on both sides of our family. And as life happened, we wound up going down that same path and found ourselves going from best friends to boyfriend and girlfriend to husband and wife to roommates and on our way to being separated because life happened. We got on autopilot and we didn't make our marriage a priority. And it was at that time that we had to say, that our marriage is intact, that we're not so busy, just trying to either earn money and accomplish all these things, but lose each other in the process. So we had to make that shift, and God bless us. We were surprised, like, okay, God, you want us to talk to somebody about marriage? Do you know what's going on in our family?
Amen.
Do you not see us?
Yeah.
But, we surrendered to the call, and we've been helping couples for about 17 years now.
Wow.
So you've been doing it
business about 7 years.
As a business, yeah.
Wow, that is awesome. Well, we hooked up. We actually, us and your wife, Eric, were on a YouTube was this video? I don't know. Live. And a lot of great other guests. And, you know, I saw and I heard what you had to say, and I was like, man, I think our group would love to hear Dr. Sakeisha and her husband, if we can get him. I didn't really know you was an added bonus. I appreciate you so much, Eric, for joining in. And she said, well, we're going to be there. I was like, yes, a man. I got a man. I got company. I got a brother. We're going to be there. So I'm so glad that you accepted the invitation.
Yes.
When we talk, Dr. Sakeisha, we talk about, you know, different ways we could go. But I know that you have a book called Struggling to Keep the Vows. And that resonated so much with me when I read that. And I just want you to be able to share to our audience, you know, some of the things that made, first of all, what sparked the book in the first place?
You broke up a little bit, but to share a little bit about struggling to keep the vows. Really, if you think about it, most couples, they say their vows on their wedding day. They want to plan, the women want to plan about their dress and, you know, and walking down the aisles and all their bridesmaids and the color of the dress and all those things and the honeymoon. But after that, when they get there and they say, well, you know, for better, the most common vows are for better or for worse, for rich or the poor, you know, through sickness and health. And then, you know, maybe not even 5 months, maybe a couple months later, all of a sudden you experience that rich or poor from, you know, it was rich and all of a sudden you're poor and it's all, I didn't sign up for this.
Yes, you did.
Why you didn't? I mean, you better go get a job, you know? And so when things change in that department, all of a sudden it's like, okay, you can have this ring back. I don't want it no more here.
Wow.
You know? So, you know, it's the thing. And we've been tested through the rich or the poor, sickness and health, and, you know, for better or for worse. And we've been through those times where we just spent money and didn't have the problem where it came from. And then we went from that to bankruptcy, cars being repossessed, and then we bounced back. And we've been through the scary points of the sickness and health.
Wow.
We went to the point where I thought I was going to be a widow.
No.
It was crazy.
Wow.
Yeah.
Goodness.
And then, you know, for good, you know, better for worse, those happen all the time. So the thing is that, you know, that's where you have to get through those times. People say those vows, but they don't really mean it, you know, because we've been through, coming up on 24 years, we've been through all of those, richer, you know, poor, sickness and health, better for worse. And so we did, we wrote a book, and what we did is we actually had the different perspectives from like three to four other couples. They put in their experiences, you know, through those three different vows. But here's the thing. One of the couples during that time ended up divorcing during the writing of the book. And then what we had was a psychotherapist who was divorced. So now you got a divorcee coming in and telling, well, okay, here's my contribution to what happened that caused us to be in divorce and didn't keep our vows. Wow. So, I mean, we got multiple perspectives coming from multiple different couples that were married and got a divorce during the actual writing of the book. So, and then we also have a workbook that takes you through all the, you know, the communication and finance, the intimacy, sex, all those things. We have a workbook so you can go through the workbook and you can have a checkup and see where your relationship is. Because, you know, and, you know, makes you ask questions about yourself.
Well, the way I remember it is more so you think about when you get a car. It's brand new, everything is fine. But as time goes on, there are things that could be happening underneath the hood that you're not aware of. You got to constantly do checkups. That's why they tell you schedule these times, get your oil changed, get your tires rotated, get just check up. Even though it may look like everything's good on the outside, what's going on underneath still needs to be addressed. And that's what happened a lot of times in relationships. We feel like everything looks good on the outside, but there are things that are happening on the inside that we are not aware of. Who we are in year one of a relationship is different from who you are in year 5, year 10. So you got to constantly do those checkups in the relationship and see what's going on. You know, things you enjoyed before, you may not enjoy now. So you gotta keep doing those checkups, because if not, you cruise on autopilot, and then one day, well, not one day, you know, it's happened over time. You look at each other, and it's like you're looking at a stranger. But when you do those checkups, you get to see, I'm so sorry, the changes that are taking place in each other. So,
but you know, the amazing thing is, you know, we'll talk with couples, and we'll have all the resources. We have an academy, a Millionaire Power Couple Institute. We have the workbooks. We have 5 books.
Wow.
Money Talks, Marriage Can Win, you know, all these books and resources, but you can't get anybody to buy them. And then just to tell you a story, one of my friends from high school, and he was married. And I was like, I remember in our reunion, I said, hey man, you need to get a copy of my book, man, support me, I'm from the hometown. Right. And he said, okay. He never got it. And he was married. I remember we was on the golf course, his wife was there, always there. And then the next thing I know, we got a divorce. Wow. I'm like, well, hey, I've been trying to get you to get the resources, you know, and you just kept putting it on. Oh, I don't need it.
Just
then why you divorced?
Yeah.
You know, so it's like people just don't. It's like they don't want it. It's like you got the water there, but they don't want to come up and drink it sometimes. I'm like,
well, unfortunately, when life happens, a lot of times couples may not think of it this way. You're thinking about, oh, well, that's not of importance to me right now. But when it's time, when life is hitting you in the face and you're staring at a stranger and you're deciding whether to stay or whether to leave, you know, the divorce attorney is not going to want to hear, I don't want to invest. You're going to have to invest either way.
Exactly.
And it's more than just money. It's getting the knowledge that's necessary to save your marriage. When you have a job, you want to go to the next level, you know, or even if you want to maintain your position, you got to spend time. You got to learn. You got to do those continuing education credits.
That's right.
So whether it's invest money, you got to invest time. You got to get resources, be it professionally, but you need to be able to do the same thing personally. So that's why it's really important that we remind couples, don't wait until it's too late, until you're in front of the judge, and then you want to raise your hand and say, I need help. Let's cast fear aside. Let's cast pride aside. Let's not worry about your titles or who you are. Let's get to the bottom of what's going on and get you back on track.
You should always constantly be learning. And what I've learned just by doing this endeavor that we're doing now, just the more you learn and you grow together, the more the whole family, like I say your family organization, because we're building an organization, and you have the millionaire, what is it? The millionaire what?
Oh yeah, becoming a millionaire power couple.
Yeah, so it's like, you know, you're building a legacy. You're building something that your kids can see, their kids and their families and everybody. Because we just did a live where we talked about the things that we've knew in the past and what we know now. Yeah. And if we apply the things that we know now to where we're going in the future, we will be that much more ahead. The people are looking at us. They're looking for us. They're looking. They need for us to be stable. Somebody needs some stability in this generation, so the next generation can build on top of that. So what you're doing is so powerful.
It is.
And I applaud you.
It is. You mentioned a couple things I wanted to address, and that was one of them being the car breaking down. You know, one of the things I learned, and it was in a book about health by, actually the doctor's name is Dr. Living Good, and he talked about how when someone goes to the doctor, his big thing is we don't have a healthcare system, we have a death care system. Wow. And so and so that's a whole nother thing. But the way he explained it is, most of the time when you get to the doctor, by the time your symptoms are showing, you already have 60% deterioration of whatever the issue is that's going on. It's the same thing with the marriage. So if you don't maintain it along the way, it's going to erode. Whether someone says something about it or they don't, don't say anything about it, or like your friend on the golf course, he thought, oh, well, everything is fine. Well, he probably thought that and his wife thought something else. Because if you don't talk, if you don't check in, if you don't know, if you don't do the examination, if you don't take the blood test, if you don't do all those things, you don't know what's going on within yourself. And it's really important that we do that. And the other thing I wanted to mention is that you mentioned your adult children. Someone said to us, we were out a while ago, and they said, you think when your kids get to age 18, I don't even have to say anymore, right? Our oldest is 31, our youngest is 22. They're going to be our adult children forever. We respect them as adults. However, they're still watching us. They're still having to learn from us. So the idea that we can get the kids grown and get them out the house and then we can go and live our best life, no, we do them a disservice by doing that, because it breaks down what their idea of the marriage institution is. If we pretend that everything is fine and then we split, when they're trying to get themselves together, we put a burden on them that we don't realize.
Amen.
Yeah, to survive.
And just about, I talked about earlier, started watching, reading some of your material and watching some of your videos that you have on your YouTube channel. And I'm particularly interested, I think you might address it even in the book, about the 5 reasons why most couples do not keep their vows. Could you maybe walk us down that as much as you can? I know they got to get the book, and we'll leave a link to that.
Yeah.
But just as much as you can about those 5 reasons. I'm very interested.
I mean, a lot of times they don't keep their vows. Well, sometimes you think in terms of the impact of things like social media. There are things that we allow external influences to impact what's going on inside of our relationships. And there's got to be a level of education. A lot of the kids, they're going to do not necessarily what you tell them to do. They're going to mimic what they see. You can say, well, you're a wonderful mom, you're a wonderful dad, wonderful wife, wonderful husband, but what kind of characteristics are you demonstrating to help support that? We're not asking anybody to be fake or phony. We're honest with our kids. If we disagree, dad made me upset. I'm a little, mom made dad upset, but we're going to talk about it and we work it out. So they start developing that mindset that, challenges will occur, but it doesn't mean you run for the exit door every time there's a problem.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's one of the greatest things.
Well, I mean, we have those reasons, but I really think, and we've done a couple podcasts with one of our top shows, which I said that the most important aspect of America is the family structure. And it starts there, because you're developing those habits and that mindset and perspective of what a relationship looks like at that early age. The mother and the father is the most important aspect, because if you don't have a family structure where you have a father and a mother, and the father can give a living example of what it means to be a father, what it means to be a man, and a wife, to show to the daughter what it means to be a woman. We call it the hood training, and the hood training, because a boy, you're born a boy, and as a boy, we like to play with our toys. And every time we go to the store, we want another toy, right? Mommy, Dad, I want this toy. We get you that toy. And then the next day, you want another. We keep that same mentality when it comes to girls. When you get older, right? So we're still in that boy stage. And even though we get into a teenager and we can become young men, sometimes we're still in that boy stage. We still want the lightest, the next toy. And we haven't moved from boyhood to manhood. Same with girls. Girls want the dolls. They want to be pretty and queens and all that stuff. But they still, when they get to a woman, they still in that girl stage.
Wow.
And then so a man, the boy has to learn how to respect himself, know him who he is, an identity as a man. And then he needs to know how to respect himself and respect girls and respect women. And then same thing with the girl. The girl needs to know how to respect herself and then respect, the young man.
Right.
And as you grow, that perspective is formed. And if they don't see it in their parents, and they don't see how their daddy is treating their mom with love and care and showing affection, And then the only perspective they're getting is from their friends, the streets, or television.
Right.
And so the thing is, the man and the woman, they need to teach these kids all about respect, sex, marriage, business, wealth, budget, finances, all these things that we know that are typically not taught to our kids. Because I know I wasn't. I didn't. My father and mother never told me anything about sex. They didn't tell me anything about finances, business, generational wealth. They didn't teach me any of that. So that's where it starts at the family structure. And then if there's a lack of family structure, then you have one person trying to carry two job roles or two roles. That's going to be hard. And it's not always, not saying that, the kids can't, they're behind the curve is what I'll say. But really it comes down to that family structure. But typically communication, finance, sex, forgiveness, those are some of the main reasons why you don't keep your vows, because you don't communicate. You don't express what you expect before you get married. We got a checklist on our website. Before you say I do, here's a checklist.
Wow,
We need to talk
I like
about
that. I like that.
Major checklists is number one is, religion. Children, do you want to have kids? If so, how many? 1, 2, or 3. Okay,
Yeah.
Then finances. Okay, what do you want to be in life? Do you want to live in a certain size home? Where do you want to live? Do you want to have vacations? Where are your kids going to go for school? When you want to retire? All these things you need to talk about, because you can't say I want a 10,000 square foot home and you're at McDonald's and you're not putting any investments or anything to save up money. Nothing wrong with McDonald's. I mean, maybe if you want to own 2 or 3 McDonald's, you'll have some finances.
Right.
But if you're talking about you're working fries and then you're going to be your shift manager in 10 years, but you still want a 10,000 square foot home and you want to have 2 or 3 kids and you want them to go to college and you don't put any money aside, then there's a problem. Because the first sign of, more money than month, then the marriage is going to be like, okay, I didn't sign up for this.
Right. Yeah.
That is so good. That is so good. So you said the reasons on your checklist, you have religion, kids, and home. What was it?
Yeah, finances. Sex.
And sex, we said that.
How many children you want to have if you're going to have them.
Okay.
Yeah, if you go to marriagescanwin.com and you click on before you say I do, the checklist is there. It's really, as far as it sparks the discussion, because you got to talk about stuff like religion. Because if one is a Mormon, and the other one's Christian, okay, then you're going to discuss that. But then you got to say, okay, which one are we going to raise our kids? You can agree, okay, well, you can keep your religion, I keep my religion. I'm not trying to convert you, but then how are you going to raise your kids?
Exactly.
Right. How are you going to agree?
That is so good. And look, man, 30 minutes go by so quick. My goodness. But it's a good thing, when you run out of time and you still have so many more things you could talk about, you're a good guest. So I appreciate y'all so much. Look, before we get up out of here, before we leave, so all those things, if someone's struggling, maybe they don't really, religion, they have to do some work on that, but the kids, the home, the finances, even the sex part, like, just pick one that you think, you feel it in your spirit, or whatever, that you can just talk about a strategy to help overcome it. If someone they hit a wall in one of those areas, like we can't really seem to agree, they don't want kids and I want 5, or, the home, you want 10,000 square foot, but you don't want to work at a job that's going to be fun. Whatever, just pick one, the kids, home, finance, sex, something that we can, our listeners can just...
A nugget to leave with them.
Leave with them.
Yeah.
For me, honestly, I would say communication is going to be that central hub, be it about the finances, be it about sex.
Exactly.
One of the things about communication is a two-way street. You have to be effective at communicating what you want, but effective at listening as well. Because so many times we're expressing, this is what's on my heart, but are they actually hearing you? Are you pausing for a moment to see if they're actually internalized what it was you were saying, and then giving them, and then are they giving you an opportunity to clarify if there's something that maybe hurt or offended them? Give them an opportunity to clarify it. Sometimes it's a simple misunderstanding, but we get so caught up in our emotions, we miss the entire point, so that's one of the things. Just sometimes slow down, and just one of our main things, keep it like small and tight. If you're going to talk about stuff, maybe 2 things at a time, max 3. As a woman, I'm guilty. We can go from A to Z real quick. But, my husband had to say, look, I'm processing 2 things. Anything above that is going out the window. So you need to narrow what's your main focus right now. We'll deal with that, and then we'll prioritize and come back to it. And even for me, it may be frustrating, but look, if that's how we're going to get a result, if he's going to process these 2 things right now, let's focus on getting that together. Once we're in agreement on that, then we start adding other things in little by little. Because if not, then they feel like, well, darn, do I ever do anything right if all you're doing is tell me everything I don't do?
That's
so
true.
Just that communication.
To piggyback off of her, invest, educate yourself. Because you got to talk about those things that we're talking about, the communication. You got to communicate about and invest in yourself, like getting the education, find out about, all these are the things that you want to do, how we're going to get there. So finances, you got to communicate about finance, you got to communicate about sex, and you got to communicate about life. Because you need to know, our babies, we want to have 2 babies. Well, did you know that you can start right now, and for the rest of your children's life, you can make the most important investment in their lives when they start at birth. So by the time they turn 16, there are products out there that you can go into, pull out money, tax-free, pay for their education totally free, tax-free, and then when they graduate, pull out some more money, tax-free, and either buy them or put them a down payment on a home, or buy them a car and a down payment on a home. And then by the time they get ready to retire, they can retire for the rest of their life and pull like maybe $120,000, $130,000 tax-free. And then if something happened to them at age 95 or 100, $3 million goes to the rest of their family. That's how you create generational wealth. So that's the best investment, if you really love your children, that you can make it to their children. So that's communication, investing, and educating yourself.
Awesome.
That is so
That's
awesome.
really good information. I could have benefited from all of that when I was growing up. Thank you very much.
And look, as we go out, as we leave up out of here, we appreciate you so much for joining in. Please tell our audience how they can get in touch with you. I know we talked about the website, but just break it down, because it's also going to be on our radio show also. So maybe tell them about how they can get in contact with you.
All right. The best way for us is Instagram. All of it, be it Instagram, Twitter, LinkedIn, Facebook, everything is under Marriage Can Win. We just wanted to keep it simple. If you search Marriage Can Win, all forms of social media, that's where they'll find us.
But the central portal is marriagescanwin.com. Or mpctv.live if you want to if you're interested in building your business or being on our shows.
We'll put all of that in the description so that the guests can see it, the ones that see it on the live as well. So that is really good information. I'm so glad that you all joined us tonight. Thank you so much for sharing your life, your ministry, your love for one another. It radiates.
Thank you so much.
And we're grateful that there are others like us out there, in the kingdom that are really trying to build the kingdom and teach. God's first institution was the family, is the family, and we have to continue to fortify that foundation. So thank you so much for joining us.
And for real, because why we do what we do, because we know that better marriages make better families make better communities. Better communities make better cities. Better cities make better states. Better states make better nations. A better nation makes a better world.
Yes.
So it's like my wife said, it starts with the marriage and starts with the family. So thank you, and thank you.
It's been wonderful. Thank you for joining us here at Couples Pursuit Live, where we come to give you more information and inspiration for your love, your marriage, your relationship. We hope that you've learned something good here tonight. We're going to drop the information for Minister Eric and Dr. Sakeisha Hylick in the comments. Please go and visit their social media platforms and take part of the resources that they have to offer.
Amen.
Yes.
Until next time.
Yes. May the Lord bless you and keep you, make his face shine upon you and be gracious to you and give you peace. We'll see you next time here on Couples Pursuit Live.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.